Unboxing time. Oh, it's your prize. What the is this? This ginger.
This is the TrimUI brick hammer, and I'm having a very hard time reviewing this device. And it's not because I didn't like it. I actually love it. It's one of the most premium feeling devices I've ever laid my hands on. The metal shell adds an extra layer of fanciness to the already dense package of the previous TrimUI brick. And I have to emphasize the denseness of this thing. You could bludgeon someone with this and still walk away with it still running your Pokemon Emerald save. The reason I'm having such a hard time reviewing this device is because technically I already did that. Last year, I was fortunate enough to get my hands on a TrimUI brick, the plastic version of the hammer. It was actually my first ever emulation handheld in my life, and like all aspiring YouTubers, I made a video about it, mostly talking about how much I loved it, how much I loved the form factor, and how it was my best purchase of 2025. Well, fast forward 11 months later, and a lot of things have changed. I got my hands on a few more handhelds throughout the year, some Amberneck handhelds like the RG34XX, an RG34XXSP. I even made a video about the RG Rotate last week. I had a Switch Lite that's modded, a modded Switch OLED as well, and even a Switch 2 at some point in time. I got addicted to buying these things. It's crazy. Unfortunately, your boy isn't made of money. In the grand scheme of things, I'm quite poor actually, and most of these purchases were bad financial decisions at the end of the day. Because of that, I've had to sell most of them. The idea is that I get to enjoy them for a few weeks, make a few shorts or a few videos about them, and then sell them for a higher price than I bought them for. I don't usually buy stuff that I can't resell anyways, so most of the time the urge to make profit wins over the idea of keeping these devices on my shelf. The TrimUI brick was no exception. It was the longest holdout so far. I kept it for more than 3 months, but eventually it went away to a new home. I never did forget about it though. In my mind, it was always going to be a temporary thing. Before even selling it, I knew in my heart of hearts that I would get the metal version, the brick hammer, someday. I just need to find a good deal for it. And today's that day, ladies and gentlemen. I finally got my hands on the hammer. Are you subscribed? You should subscribe, okay? Okay. The hammer features the same insidey bits that the first brick had, a gorgeous 3.2-inch IPS display, the tried and true all-winner A133P CPU, 1 gig of DDR3 RAM, and 8 gigabytes eMMC. That's only gonna be used for the firmware though. It also has an SD card slot that's expandable to up to a terabyte. I don't know what kind of ROMs you have to get to 1 terabyte, but the option is there, I suppose. The star of the show is the metal chassis, a smooth CNC machine aluminum alloy shell that comes in a variety of colors. The one I have is one of the newer ones, the all black model, and I really like how it feels in my hand. It's very smooth and chunky. If you told me that this was made by Apple or Nintendo, I'd believe you. Actually, I might even doubt you a bit. Apple and Nintendo haven't had a good track record recently when it comes to their budget devices. This little doodad can run anything up to the PSP. It can even run some N64 games. Personally, I like playing the Nintendo classics and their handhelds in this device. Anything below the Nintendo DS, the power really isn't anything to be surprised about. Most handhelds around the same price range or even lower can play the same things. Form factor is usually the deciding point for a lot of users when picking a retro doodad, and the hammer's pocketable minimalist design is what makes it special in my opinion. For an everyday pocket device, that design first approach matters a lot more than another marginal bump in frame rates. Another highlight is the button feel. I could tell that they're using the same buttons as the TrimUI brick, which were already top notch, but combined with the metal shell, it feels a lot more tactile and satisfying to press on. Maybe it's a placebo effect, or maybe it's because it's been a while since I had the original brick, but the shoulder buttons also feel a lot less shaky. If you jiggle the hammer around, you could still feel it rattle a bit, but it's a lot less of a pet peeve than when I had the brick last year. There are a ton of options when it comes to firmware OS choices for this one too, with the brick being so popular. Next UI is currently the community's favorite, but underdogs like the Newly OS, Spruce OS, and even Moo OS also have their fans. Personally, I went with Newly since I've always been an ESDE supporter. but I've tried all of them throughout the week and they're all great choices. Can we talk about the screen for a minute? Out of all the budget emulation devices I've tried, this one has the best screen out of all of them. It's a 1024 by 768 fully laminated IPS screen that gets so bright that I have no problem playing it outside in the middle of the Philippine heat wave. Other than the metal casing, this screen is such an eye-catching feature for the TrimUI brick hammer. Every time I script these reviews, I try to put the negative points I have near the end of the video, but I'm having a really hard time thinking of what I can say here. I just love this device. Maybe I'm glazing it too much, or maybe it's just recency bias talking, but I don't see myself reselling this thing for quite a while. If I had to point out a negative, it would be the price. Brand new, you could get this thing for around $100 after shipping. You could lower that price with some sales and discounts, of course. For $100, there are more versatile options with better access to higher end systems because of the joystick. So if all you care about is playing, let's say, PS1 or PSP, I would recommend something else. However, even with that caveat, the hammer still has so many good points that it's hard to ignore even with the price tag. Also, you could try doing what I did. Scrounge around your local Facebook marketplace. I got mine for $56 after shipping. You never know. There might be some good deals around you. But yeah, that's my ramble, my review video for the TrimUI brick hammer. I'm glad I got to experience the brick again. Next up is the DS Lite. I also have a DS Pico coming in a few days. That's exciting. I'm gonna see you guys next time, okay? Peace out.